Hello, my fellow project managers, PMPs. I want to say huge congrats to those of you who got certified very recently. I want to give a shout out to Rose. I want to give a shout out to our friend Monique. And I want to give a shout out to anyone else who got certified. Well done. Now that you're certified, it's just the beginning. We need to ask the question, what next, so that we stay pumped and motivated. I know a lot of people who are PMPs and they ain't done nothing with their PMP. But that is not going to be the case for us, right? Because we're going to do something with our PMP. I showed up today as promised. A few weeks ago, I told you I was going to do better, keeping in touch with you PMPs and not just remembering those who are trying to get certified, but remembering those of you who came with me on the journey. I want to say thank you to all of you who came with me on the journey. Those of you who joined my live courses, those of you who were on all of my lives on YouTube, those of you who've been part of the 40 Days to PMP program, not to mention my Project Leadership Institute members. I want to give a shout out to you because you've done really awesome to stay on the straight and narrow of project management, not to cop out, but to want to maintain your PMP. So I want to give you some value today. I want to show you what you need to be thinking about now that you are a PMP. And the title of this is your PMP VSP. What do I mean by VSP? Well, I'm talking about a value selling proposition. Now that you're a PMP, you got to ask yourself, what do I bring to the table that's new? What do I bring to the table that I couldn't bring before I got certified? And for me, it's very simple because before I got certified, I was a project coordinator in a company. And then I merely put working on my PMP on my resume. That elevated the game, right? And then I got employment in an IT software firm in the food industry. And I held true to my promise. I did get certified. And after getting certified, my career moved in leaps and bounds, not just because of the PMP, but because of what I could do with it. Some people, the PMPs, ain't nothing changed in their game. They're doing projects the same old way. They're showing up to their organizations the same old way, waiting for instructions instead of being change agents, instead of being a difference maker, instead of changing the game. The moment I got certified, I started thinking, what am I going to do different? What am I going to do to show my employer that this certification is of value? A lot of people don't see value in PMP because the people who are PMPs are still playing the mother may I game. They're not taking the initiative. They're not doing anything different. You see, when I got certified and I joined a really fantastic company called Honeywell, I immediately noticed that my colleagues were failing the PMP exam. Instead of staying like a little mouse in the corner saying, well, they got to figure it out for themselves, I said, no, I'm a PMP. I got to help these people. I got to help them. So I told my boss, I said, Jim, I think I have something to offer our people because a lot of brilliant people were failing the exam. This is why I get mad when on social media I hear dumb things like, well, those who are smart can pass the exam. It's not about being smart. Or I hear this, those who are high achievers should be able to pass the exam on their own. Ain't nothing about high achievers. It's all about understanding how to think. And sometimes we need a coach to teach us how to think. The great Jack Welch, rest his soul, he had a coach that helped him in the world of technology, a coach that helped him in the world of finance. So it's foolish for one to think, well, I'm a CEO. I don't need any. Of course, you need coaching. Of course, you need mentoring. So when you are a PMP, you need to be a conduit to help others who are looking to climb out of the crab barrel. One of my students is so funny. He uses the crab barrel analogy and he says, everyone's trying to get certified, trying to climb out of the barrel. And he's right. He's right. We're all trying to climb out of the barrel. So I see one of our friends on LinkedIn. Good to see you. Getting some chiming in here. Thank you very much. So now that you're a PMP, I'm going to show you what I think you need to be thinking about. I'm going to give you the top of the waves, okay? I promise. I know it's a A Thursday, you're gearing up for the weekend. I'm not going to keep you too long, I promise. But let's dive straight into the talk that I have for you today. I'm showing up as promised to inspire, motivate, and encourage you. So I call this a guide for PMPs to continue growing and making an impact. The moment you stop growing, that's retrogression. That's going into the graveyard. I don't want to stop growing. I want to continue bringing my best, bringing my A game every single day. So congrats, you're now a PMP, right? This achievement is a new chapter. It can be a new chapter, but you got to make it a new chapter, right? You got to make it important and ever relevant. The importance of continuous growth, both professionally and personally, cannot be overstated. You need to continue growing. You need to strive for excellence. So the PMP exam is just the beginning, right? It's a foundation. It's not the finish line. A lot can happen before the finish line. Trust me. Some people, they think that they've arrived with the PMP, but you have others that get certified years after them. I mean, like decades after them, and they make a bigger difference. Why is that? Because it's a mindset of someone saying, well, I'm a PMP. I'm further ahead than you. No, you're not further ahead than me, who is not certified, until you begin to do stuff. You got to stay ahead in industry. You got to continuously learn and advance. The horror of getting certified for me, I see people certified. My buddy Lee Lambert, he calls them paper PMPs. They're certified, but ain't 1 ounce of PM sense in their heads after they walk out of that exam venue. You ask them, how would you manage risk on a project? Crickets. You ask them, how would you manage cost on a project? They're telling you, well, just look at actual versus planned. What did you learn? Did the process even go through you? No, you just went through the process. But we gotta accelerate and push boundaries. We gotta set bigger goals. You can't keep managing projects the way you were yesterday. You gotta manage with EQ, emotional intelligence, not IQ. Some people still managing with IQ. I got really frustrated just hearing about one of my project managers who went for an interview. And here's an interview about project management in the world of Agile. And this PM being interviewed is being asked, well, how do you do that in Jira? How do you do that in Jira? Where do you store this in Jira? I'm like, my goodness, what kind of an interview is this? This interviewer absolutely missed the boat, because project management is more than processes and tools. You got to manage not with your IQ, but with your EQ, leadership. You got to understand that dynamic. And I'm telling you, the higher you go in your project management, the more you'll discover that leadership is front and center. Okay. So I want you to push boundaries, lead. I didn't say manage, lead larger and more complex projects. How do you do that? You got to be agile. It's very simple. The Stacy complexity model maps it out for us. So now that you're a PMP, you can't be managing projects the same way. No carrot and sticks, no draconian rule, EQ. All right. Next thing, sow seeds that benefit others. The power of mentorship. I can't tell you how much I've learned from mentoring, training, and coaching people. I've learned a ton, more than I can even state. Tons. So if you are a PMP, I want to lay a charge to you to start mentoring others to come out of the crab barrel. Don't say, well, I guess they can just go over to Phil's class. Yeah, they can come over to my class, but you can also be a mentor and a coach to them. In addition, just like I got 50 of my colleagues certified at Honeywell, 50. Mind you, I'm in defense and space. This is not my job. This is not my real job. My real job is project, program planning, earn value, bringing people along for the earned value, right? That's my job. But I saw a need and I started sowing seeds. And the truth about this story, when the time came, because I did a lot of contracts back in those days, and the deal is over, the contract is over. This is almost 2 decades ago. I'm looking for my next gig. Who comes to my rescue? All the people I mentored and coached. And they get on the phone with that hiring manager in IT effectiveness at Honeywell. They say, look, if you don't choose this guy, you missed the boat. My goodness. Talk about a windfall of support from people that you mentored and trained. I'm talking about people who are higher level than me in the organization that I train and coach for PMP. They are now the people saying, I vouch for this guy, he can do it. I got buy one, get one free. I didn't bargain to get that windfall, but I got a windfall of support. And I'm not saying that's exactly how it's going to work out for you, but I believe in the law of sowing and reaping. If you sow, you're going to reap. It's just a law. It's that simple. So give to others. Don't hoard. I actually hear people saying, well, I know Phil got me certified, but I got to keep him a secret. Otherwise, the other people, they're going to know how I did it. So, isn't that what you should do? We rise by lifting others. Think about that. You got to avoid stagnation. Stop staying in the same place. Those of you who did the whole agile thing because you felt, oh, I just got to do agile because of PMP. No, 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 no. I want you to take it up a notch. I want you to do some high intensity agile training, coaching, and I want you to come along for the agile ride. So I'm challenging you right now. I need you to come for an agile ride with me. Just go to agileprinciple.com. It's very simple, simple instructions, because some of you know you need to do better in the world of agile. You know that you need to study agile more, but you're not doing it. Maybe you don't know how. So I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to put this in the chat right here, okay? For those of you who know you need to go further in the world of agile, go to agileprinciple.com. I want you to come for the journey with me. Come for the ride with my buddy Roy and I, because we are offering our on-demand / blended training program for those who are thinking of the ACP, right? Go to agileprinciple.com, because you need to up the game. You need to up that game. Okay, you're a PMP, but did agile really stay in you? I think it passed through you. It didn't stay inside. We got to get those agile manifesto values and principles like right there subconsciously, and we got to get you being pragmatic about it. So if that's you, just jump on it and do it. Avoid stagnation. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow is our doubts of today. Don't doubt yourself. Some of you thinking, oh, I don't think I'm that good in agile. No, you just need a coach, a mentor, a help. And that's what I'm offering those of you who are thinking of going to the next level in agile. Go to agileprinciple.com and let's begin that conversation. All right. So you got to avoid stagnation. Elevate, expand, and excel. In order to elevate, you got to do it intentionally. My mentor, John Maxwell, he says, no one does it by dumb luck. Growth is not accidental. I did not get to the level I am today accidentally. Just take a look around me. You're going to see tons and tons and tons of publications, tons and tons of books over here. Let me give you a very good view. All of these books, I have over 40 publications. How did I get there? Twiddling my thumbs? No, it wasn't by dumb luck alone. Dumb luck sometimes can help, but it was by being intentional, right? Luck is when intentionality meets deliberateness, doggedness, and ruggedness. So if you want to say that's luck, well, go ahead and say it. But I tell you, I got trained and coached by the best. I sought out John Maxwell's company, joined the John Maxwell team, learned leadership. That's how I elevated. It wasn't dumb luck. It was incidental that one day I was on social media and it came up with a notice just like this. John Maxwell starting a new leadership company. So I jumped on the bandwagon. So it was incidental that I saw that notice, but it wasn't incidental that I intentionally pursued and studied and read everything John had to offer. And that's how you get great. You got to be intentional. So I've always said you got to go to that next level by striving for excellence, pushing boundaries by being dogged and rugged. Never say no. Never accept no. Keep going, right? And then you also have to give back. If you remember in our last webinar, I taught you the KGS formula. Do you remember the KGS formula? I taught you the know, grow, and sow formula. That's pretty much what I'm summarizing here. For those of you who have forgotten, in order to be a success after your PMP, you got to think about the K, G, and the S. Okay, this is something I borrowed from my mentor, John Maxwell. In order to succeed, you got to know your purpose in life. You got to grow to your maximum potential, and you got to sow seeds that benefit others. And by the time all is said and done, you have this kind of structure. And where do you want to be? You want to be right up front here. This is where you are going to get the most success, the biggest success bang for your buck. It's when you're growing intentionally, not relying on dumb luck. It's when you know your purpose in life, where you have a vision, where you get certified and you say, now that I'm a PMP, this is what I'm going to achieve. This is my true north as a PMP. And let me just help those of you who say, well, Phil, I've been doing this all my life and I don't really have direction. Well, your vision, your true north is to be the best version of yourself, period. Whether you are a musician like me, a leadership coach and trainer like me, a project management expert like me, a dad like me, you got to have a vision. Be the best version of yourself. How do you do that? Intentionality, dogged, ruggedness, daily rinse, repeat. Get better, improve, but have a target and have a goal. I need you to have a goal as a PMP. Some of you need to start a business, but you've been ducking and diving and say, I'm not ready. I don't know what to do. Don't be like me that was kicked out of the building. I had to grow my wings on the way down when I was kicked out of the building. And I'm so glad I was kicked out of the building. But you know the sad truth? Not everyone will be kicked out of the building. Think about that. Not everyone is going to be fired into their excellence. I was fired into my excellence. I didn't say fired up. I lost my job in the downturn of the economy in 2009. That's what catapulted me to do what I'm doing today. If I wasn't fired from that building, I'd still be there in that corner office enjoying my status as a producer in a gaming company, world class. Nah, that wasn't what I'm supposed to be doing now. I'm so glad I lost that gig. I'm so glad I was fired out of that company, even though it was because the economy tanked. But I'm so glad I was, because I wouldn't have been fired up the way I am into my greatness. I would not have had the pleasure of spending a week with the men and women in uniform, U.S. Air Force in Mildenhall. I would not have had the pleasure of spending a week with my people at Fort Lee, my men and women in uniform who I admire very much. And I would not have had the pleasure of meeting the people at NASA and the FBI and training and coaching them to be PMPs. So sometimes you just have to be fired from that job, or you have to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And I just say, fire yourself from your comfort zone. Some of you are too comfortable, too comfortable. You're getting that paycheck, and yeah, it's nice, but is that all there is to you? Is that the end of your vision, just to get a paycheck? I want to challenge you to stop thinking that paycheck mentality. You got greatness within you, greater levels of greatness than you even know. So I want to challenge you: expand, elevate, and excel. Now, you are a PMP, but what is your VSP? Well, let me explain what I'm talking about. You are a project management professional, but what is your value selling proposition? Well, for me, my VSP is I deliver tailored project management and leadership solutions for success. And I'm obsessed about it. That's why I'm showing up here on a Thursday evening. I could have been having fun somewhere else, but I'm here showing up because this is my vision to help you, project management professionals who have stayed in a dingy, dim-lit room for 4 hours. No, not 4 hours. It's 230 minutes because they give you a 20-minute break. So, so let's say 230 minutes in a dingy, dim-lit room and 20 minutes. I don't know whether you were roaming around Pearson or wherever you took the exam, but you showed up for your success, and I'm showing up for you. Let me give you my honest 2 cents. If you were going for an interview and I was interviewing you, I would want to know, what are you going to do differently from the non-PMP? What do you have to offer that's different? I need you to sell me on to a benefit. And take a moment. If you're watching this, give it some thought. What is your value selling proposition? I'll even go a step further and say, what is your unique selling proposition? Can you put a spin on it that makes it unique, such that no one else has ever heard this before? No one has ever said it to me, the interviewer? I challenge you. What is your VSP? What is your USP? Give it some thought. I'm not going to share mine with you beyond what I shared on the first page, but I want you to craft one. What makes you unique? Back in the day when I would apply for a lot of these RFPs, I will craft my USP and my VSP. And it was always a home run because it was gripping and it was honest. And it helped the client know I'm thinking of them, because when you craft the VSP, you're saying, this is the value I'm going to bring to you. So if I hire you as a project management professional, can you promise me? Let me just show you about 5 things I would love for you to be able to promise. Okay? And don't get all cute saying, well, I can't promise. No, you can promise it. If you're serious, you'll go dust your books and you'll go dust your desk and make sure you can do these things. Okay? The great Zig Ziglar, he said, it's your aptitude, your attitude that determines your altitude, not your aptitude. Your aptitude is, okay, I'm certified, but your attitude is, I can do this. So some people have got the aptitude, but they don't have the attitude. You got to have both. You got to have the PMBOK smarts, the agile smarts, and then you got to have the EQ as well, and then you got to have the right attitude. And as Zig Ziglar said, what really catapults you is the attitude. So I want you to have a can-do attitude, my friends. That's what I'm saying. Because I know some of you be all cute. You go to interviews and you're like, oh, I can't promise that I can do this, but I'm going to try my best. No, that's lame. That's lame. Don't tell me that. I need you to promise your VSP and your USP. If it's truly your VSP and your USP, I want you to deliver it. You know, Will Smith hasn't been very popular in current years, but there's one thing he said about motivation. And he's like, if I'm on that treadmill, it's either I die on it or you give up. Talking about the competition. Either the competition gives up or he dies on that treadmill, trying to outrun that person. And it's a good mindset to have, right? To not give up. So let me show you what I'm hoping that you can promise your employer. Okay? Can you promise your employer this VSP? Increased efficiency and productivity. Can you promise that? You see, if you tell me you're a PMP and you're coming to my organization and you cannot promise me some increased efficiency and productivity, why am I hiring you? Who wants to stay status quo? I want to stay status quo. I want to get next level, and I need a PMP that can help me get to the next level. So what you're bringing to the table is structured methodologies to streamline processes. We're talking about management now, project management. We've talked about the leadership piece. You get that. But let's leave that piece to come back to it in a few minutes. But let's hone in on management, because a lot of people, PMPs, unfortunately, they cannot do this. They cannot increase efficiency. They cannot increase productivity. Someone says, but Phil, how do I do that? Oh my goodness, it's a long story. I got to ask you to get the book. This book is a book that I wrote based on content in the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, 6th edition. It's called DigSiv. You need to understand how to solve problems, critically think, and be creative. And there's a lot more content in this book, but I can't go into all of it right now, other than find a way, PMP. Don't say there's no way. Find a way. You're a PMP. You tackle that crazy exam, find a way. Increase efficiency and productivity. Okay. It's not enough to pass the exam, my friends. It's not enough. You got to do more. Can you promise your employer cost savings as you effectively manage projects? Can you? Scope, schedule, cost, resources? Can you minimize waste? Do you know how to do that? The answer should be yes. If you are a PMP, I am not taking no for an answer. What about improved project outcomes? I'm looking for expertise. I need you to assure me I got risk down. I can whip this thing into shape with the power of a team. I can effectively engage stakeholders, and I can effectively work with a team in getting the project under control quality wise. Can you assure me that you will successfully deliver in alignment with the objectives and satisfaction of the customer? These need to be yeses. You need to be absolutely gung-ho on these going into any interview, not just by relying on dumb luck, but saying, I know how to do it. Can you truly say that in an interview? I'm confident I can whip risk into shape. I can whip schedule and cost into shape. And don't give me all that rhetoric of, oh, well, it takes a team. Yes, we already know that. But you as a PMP, can you inspire, motivate, encourage, and bring the light? If the answer is no, I ain't giving the job to that person. I'm giving the job to the person who says, yes, I can enhance stakeholder communication. I can make it clear, transparent, open, on point. I can bring about smoother collaboration because I know what not to do and what to do. This is why I say PMP is never enough. There's some things you just got to go through the school of hard knocks, but you got to have a can-do attitude to say, I'll fall, but I'll pick myself up, just like Will Smith was saying. All right, let's talk about other benefits, continuous improvement and adaptation. This is why you need an agile mindset. Regular project reviews. Let's just call them retrospectives, okay? Retrospectives shouldn't have a limit to, well, it's just at the end of the project. No, you should have regular retros. And when it comes to lessons learned, it shouldn't be a blame game, but it should be something of knowledge that we're sharing with the firm, keeping the people's names obscured so that it's not as if you're blaming someone for what they did that was bad, but the lessons to be learned are learned, right? Proactive, responsive project management, continuous adjustments and enhancements. You should know how to do this, my friend. You should understand how to do this stuff. So as a PMP, I'm looking for you to create a VSP that reaches out to the interviewer and convinces them that, oh yeah, this isn't a paper PMP, this is a real one, right? So can you deliver tailored solutions? Can you drive efficiency, cost savings, and successful outcomes? Can you commit to enhancing communication for your employer? Can you foster continuous improvement? Can you be a change agent for regular retros instead of the dumb old, we're doing the lessons learned at the end of the project? After you've wasted millions across the firm in similar projects? No. You need to have a mindset of agility, right? And lastly, let's collaborate to achieve your goals. You already know where I'm going with this because I've been telling some of you, hey, join the program. Which program am I talking about? I'm talking about leadershipavenue.com, right? Leadershipavenue.com. I'd really love for you to join Leadership Avenue because I know that it will make a difference in your project management game. This is where I work with PMPs to teach them how to effectively lead themselves and how to be a real success. So Going down to Leadership Avenue. It's my life after the PMP exam program. PMP is never enough. It's the beginning. You got to elevate. You got to expand. You got to conquer. And you know the way to do that? The way to do that, my friend, is by being intentional about your growth. Don't rely on dumb luck. I understand some things just happen. Like I happened to see John Maxwell's advert on social media. Yeah, it was probabilistic, but you got to be intentional. Now that I saw his advert, I was intentional going to that symposium, going to that gathering that we had back in 2011, 13 years ago. And my life changed because if I hadn't gone there, I probably wouldn't have written my first book. Because this book, I wrote this book 2011, 2012. It's called Getting Rich in Project Management. What made me write this book? It wasn't dumb luck. It was John holding me accountable because I didn't want to put my name on the book. But having great company in mentorship, coaching, and guidance, it just made me come out of my shell and say, I got to do this. Now that John is aware of it and is asking me, is this my copy? He held me accountable. And ever since then, I haven't looked back, And sometimes we just need a coach, a mentor, someone to come alongside us and help us get out of that shell. Okay? For those of you just come in, over the past number of minutes, we've been talking about how to get to that next level, how to scale up. I appreciate the fact that some of you are looking for work. You cannot afford to be discouraged. And you cannot afford to get into your own head with lies. Some of you, you're listening to the gremlin on your shoulder. Will I ever get a job? When am I going to get a job? I think I'm doomed. Don't think like that. You are going to get a job when you have a positive mental attitude about yourself and you craft your USP and your VSP and stick to your guns with it. Okay. Thank you for joining me today, my friends. Like I promised, it's a little bit of a quick one, not entirely quick. I usually go for about an hour, but today I'm going to cut you some slack and let you jump off early. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I wish you all the very best. If you got any questions, any concerns, you know what to do. Put them in the chat. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And don't forget to share this with other PMPs who are looking for their next line of action. Thank you very much.